What's up everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Pete Summers. I'm a DJ and music producer from Boston, Massachusetts, and it's been a while since I've released one of these videos. I apologize, life has just gotten in the way. I think I just bit off a little more than I can chew when starting this YouTube channel, aside from my weekly live streams, which I've been trying to keep up as much as possible. I don't really want to just create a video just to check a box in the algorithm and keep doing it every single week no matter what. I really wanted to be valuable and educational content for you all. And as I was thinking about what video I wanted to create when I came back, I thought a lot about things that I wish I knew earlier in my production career, so then maybe by this time I could have more music out and I could have more streams and maybe I'd be a little further in my career. Not that I'm regretting any of this, but that's just kind of how I'm wording the video, just to tell you this information. I know there's probably a lot of other YouTube channels that kind of do this same kind of shtick, but it's the only way I knew how, so here we go. So the first piece of advice I wish I told my younger self is the importance of reference tracks. It's not that I was against them at all, I was just too lazy to incorporate them in my music. I would always start with ideas and then sooner or later I would just be so far in the song that I would almost work backwards, and when it came to the mixing period, I would basically try to find a song that my song sounded like. But I think it's important not just for the mixing part, but also for the entire production to actually have an inspiration or a specific sound that you're going for, and then if you're trying to make it your own, then you can go off from that point. A big thing that I've been incorporating a lot in my recent productions is taking the drums. I've had a video about this before. You can learn a lot about a genre in just the drum groove. For example, I've been creating a lot of UK garage lately, and I'm learning a lot of things about how specifically the kick drum sounds, how the clap sounds, how the hi-hat sounds. These are the things that differ some genres together. Even the groove itself. These are components of some songs that really help differentiate themselves from other genres. And for an average listener, sometimes these things aren't even noticed when you're listening to a full track. So being able to really dissect a specific genre, sound, artist that you're going for really helps get a jumping off point for certain ideas to come out. And if you're using a fully produced, a popular, a high streaming track to use as your reference, you'd be sounding more like that track than if you just tried to think in the back of your head how a typical UK garage track sounds, for example. Even more so if you go through the entire production process and you use a third-party engineer for mixing or mastering, it's already easy enough to send them your reference track to actually have them use that as reference for mixing too. For my second piece of advice, kind of goes hand in hand with that first one, and that is to use your old tracks to create new tracks. And if you used a reference track on your old track, and you start doing that more regularly, then you can actually start using your own tracks as your own references and really create your sound that way. But what I also mean by this is specifically using tracks and components of your music in other new music. To be totally honest, your average listener is not going to recognize you using the same drum groove in 3 to 5 different songs. No one's gonna recognize you using the same sound design in your bass. No one's gonna recognize the effects like the crashes, the sweeps, the snare builds that you're incorporating in your tracks. And even if they do, it's not gonna change their perception of the song, and your song made with pieces of old music might fall upon the ears of someone who's never heard your music before. I think music producers spend so much time and effort and commitment to a single track that I don't think it's worth the effort if you can't utilize these components for your new tracks. For example, you can come out with an original song, you can copy the project, you can tweak notes in your chords, your bass line, your leads, maybe change some things around in your drums, maybe change the key, and now all of a sudden you have a new track. And if you're not comfortable with making that an original track, make it a remix. I'm starting to believe that you should be using one song to fuel 3 to 5 of your future tracks. We live in an era of music right now where it gets consumed so rapidly, and there's a lot of pressure on producers to come out with music. I would use this method not to overwhelm yourself with starting a track completely from scratch every single time you want to start a new project. And now we move on to my third piece of advice, which is extend the song as soon as you create a good loop. I think many other producers have gone through this struggle where you start a loop and you embellish it and build it into its full 8 bars. You have drums, you have effects, you have bass, chords, and leads. And then all of a sudden it sits there. As soon as you get to that point, I think it's really important for you to start arranging, because it'll help you visualize this idea and really start to see it as a fully made song. Every producer starts from different sections of the song. Sometimes people start with breaks, sometimes people start with the drops, but wherever you are, start segmenting out pieces of your loop and really build it into a arranged song. I think that's just a way better way for you to not get stuck just listening to the same loop over and over again, and you can actually start to hear and visualize the progression of music over the course of an entire song. And now we come to the fourth piece of advice, which is to set a deadline for yourself. Kind of going off of that last piece of advice of creating a loop and arranging it into a full song, it's also very common for producers to claim that they're 99% done with a song. They just have a couple tweaks and a couple things that they need to fix, and it's not perfect yet, or they're scared to put it out because they think it could be better. But the thing is, you're never going to have a perfect song. No producer ever has a perfect song. And that's the exciting part about it, because you release a song and then you get better at producing. So then you look back on that song and you think about all the things that you could have changed about it. But it's a great song because it shows that you're progressing. But with that being said, I think once you get it to a comfortable position, it's important for you to put that out, especially if you want to have a career in music. So once you get it to a point where you are claiming it's 95% done, it's important for yourself to set a realistic deadline for where the song is until the moment that you hit that export button and you finish it all together. Whether that's send it as a demo to record labels, send it to a mixing and mastering engineer, or just uploading it to Spotify, Apple Music, and all these streaming platforms yourself. But it's important to have a light at the end of the tunnel for you to get to, so then when you get to that date, you're not going to be overthinking about all these different things that you could change, and you hold yourself accountable to say, nope, it doesn't matter at what point this song is, or how much EQing that the snare could use, or if the vocals are sitting right. No, you set that deadline when you felt like you had a good track, and wherever it is, move on, send it out, enjoy the production, and showcase it with the rest of the world. Okay, and my final piece of advice is gonna sound a little weird at first, but after I explain it, I think it'll make a lot more sense. And that is to don't share your music with everybody. And that's during the production process of it. When I come up with musical ideas, whether they just be loops or partially made songs, but anything in the demo process and not a fully made released song, I get really excited to share it with as many people as possible. And the issue that comes with this is that these people can range from people in my DJing and music producer network, as well as friends and family. And you're gonna get totally different reactions from both sides. I've definitely had some instances where I've shown a friend some of my unreleased music of a genre that they don't normally listen to, and I won't get the reaction that I'm expecting them to have for the song. That isn't to say that the song is bad, it's just they don't listen to that type of music, so it's hard for them to give you a reaction of the song. And on top of that, some of these people don't know how to articulate their feedback for a song because they're not DJs and music producers. So I think if you're sending your song to somebody, do it very cautiously, because the reaction that you get from some people can completely alter the way that you produce the song, or it might limit you from coming out with the song altogether because you see their initial reaction not rising to your expectations, and now all of a sudden you think that everybody in the world's reactions to your song is going to be the same exact way, which isn't the case at all. I think I would prioritize sending your music to other music producers who can specifically articulate objective feedback to give you on your song. That can be how you arrange things, how you're mixing things, or any other aspect of the song that they know from their own experience. And even with that advice from a trusted source, still stick to your gut with the song. If they're telling you to do something to your song that you don't particularly agree with, then stick to your intuition and keep the song the way that you want it to be. And those are the 5 pieces of advice that I would tell my younger self that I've finally just learned now that have made the music production process so much more efficient and fun and valuable in the spot that I am in my career. Let me know if you have any advice that you would give your younger self in the comments below. I hope you're all able to get something out of this. And as always, if you guys have any questions or want to talk one-on-one, please reach out to me at Pete Summers Music on Instagram. I also live stream on my YouTube and Twitch channel every single Tuesday night at 8 p.m. So make sure to check out for those, where I showcase my entire music production process as well as listen to some demos and provide feedback. Thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you next time.